So, the things that I normally do when my family's around, if people come around for dinner, I choose something that's going to be quite full of flavor, and people also always love a good roast. So for me, my go-to is either a roast chicken or a roast lamb. And the roast chicken it's got a bit of a safeguard plan on the back there. If you can actually brine your chicken first the day before, so it's nice and moist. So even if you overcook it a little bit, it'll be still succulent when it's actually cooked. And with that, with the citrus, plenty of citrus at this time of the year, I normally would do a lemon meringue pie or lemon meringue tart. So just do those two together. Skill-wise, there's still a little bit involved in making your pastry, but the rest, you want maximum flavor. So hopefully people will enjoy it and blow them away. So enjoy it. Hello, so it's sponge cakes. Quite easy to make, but so also can be quite difficult to get right. I find it with some of the recipes I've used, depending on the raising agent, it's actually either some raising flour, baking powder, but also your eggs. So your eggs, just make sure, I just feel like make sure everything is weighed out and get your pan ready before you start making the recipe. And just overbeating. I think that overbeating your batter sometimes it can contribute to the fact that it shrinks a little bit. Check your oven temperature is right before it goes in. Preheat your oven to the right temperature. Obviously, it's not too cold, not too hot. And just we get to the stage when you're going to take out your sponge cake. Maybe just don't take it out straight away into a colder place. Maybe leave it somewhere slightly warm so it's not exposing to one extreme to the other. And I guess you just got to be mindful that there is air that is incorporated when you're beating the eggs into your batter. So there might be a slight collapse, but not completely shrink. So I feel like with that air being beaten in, when the sponge actually cools down, it might collapse a little bit. But obviously, maybe just check the recipe you're using. Maybe change it up. Maybe using self-raising flour or baking powder, depending on what you're using at the moment. So hopefully those tips will be helpful the next time you make your sponge cake. Steaming was one of my favorite cooking methods. Apart from vegetables, you can actually steam some protein in there. You can use fish a lot. Just lower your temperature down maybe to 80, and because the fish is such a delicate flesh that it will beneficial from gentle heating. You can steam some chicken. The other thing too, you can do your pasta. You can do your grains, quite beneficial for grains. You can do rice. But if you ever sort of get stuck with some ideas, just visit the Miele website. I think there's plenty of steaming recipes in there, some dessert recipes in there as well. Then it just gives you some inspiration to do at home. So keep steaming. Steam ovens, definitely a must. I personally find steaming as one of my favorite methods of cookery. The thing with steaming is it's very efficient. The flavors is very pure when it's steam cooked. And also, you'll be surprised how easy they are to operate these ovens. Very easy to actually, and depending on what level of cooking skill you have, but steaming is one of the simplest and the most easiest way of cooking. I mean, there's plenty of recipes you can do with steaming. You can do casseroles, you can do risottos, curries, soups. And if you ever get stuck of ideas, you can also visit the Miele site. There's plenty of recipes there, from desserts to entrees, that you can actually use as an inspiration. Hi Julie. Honeycomb, they seem to be very easy to actually make, but they can be quite tricky. And I think that comes down to the sugar going too far and then getting slightly burnt or going to toffee. So I think the best thing my advice is to invest in a sugar thermometer, so then it gives you a preciseness of the temperature of what the sugar is up to. Because I think you're looking for that hard crack stage, which is around 146 to 150, I believe. So I think if you can invest in that, I'm sure it will save you plenty of toffee in the future. And the other thing, just a little word of advice, when your sugar gets close to that temperature, maybe you're going to take it off the heat before you add your baking soda into it. So best of luck and enjoy making honeycomb. Seafood is always quite a highlight for me as well, and salmon's obviously one of those things that we can actually access every day and we make good use of. So I got a real good, the secret is on a perfectly cooked salmon is obviously slow cooking and low temperatures. There is a perfect recipe I can promise you that will work really well for a perfectly cooked salmon. It's on the Miele recipes, under the recipes I developed for Miele. So go to the website and have a look at that, and there will be a perfect recipe there for you to get the perfect salmon, baked salmon. I guess with all of us cooking a lot at home, we try to minimize as much of the wastage that we can, and it's something quite achievable. So just a few of the tips that I normally be mindful of when I'm cooking at home is, if I'm using soft herbs like chervil, coriander, basil, parsley, I normally chop the stalks through as well. I normally chop the stalks and mix it through, because there is actually a lot of flavor in the stalks, and actually some usage you can actually save it and mix it into when you're making your paste. Another thing too, if you're using vegetables like the carrots, kumara, potatoes, I always find you give them a good scrub instead of peeling them, so you're using the skin as well. I mean, there is a lot of nutritional values in the skins. Pumpkin, you can even roast pumpkin with the skin on, so try to eat vegetables with skin on as much as you can. I find when you do roast, you always often get lots of fat off when you're doing a roast lamb or chicken or pork. I normally save that fat and use it to cook something else in it, because you're adding flavor into something else. I use it to make roux sauces or base instead of butter. I use it to emulsify to make hot dressings. And sometimes if you're planning a meal, it's probably quite useful to actually not use a recipe and look at what's in your fridge, so you can involve as much of the leftover ingredients as you can into a dish. I always find that the most quite useful tip is probably when you shop, sort of try to plan your meal so you're not sort of over shopping. So you just got to buy what you need, and then shop when you need it, not sort of over buying it and sort of storing it. So then you're creating a lot of unnecessary sort of ingredients lying around, and then they'll pass their freshest use by date. So hopefully those tips can help you minimize waste in cooking at home. Hi, so yes, I've been in the industry for a long time, 20 to 25 years, so there has been plenty of personal highlights and self-development through that stage. For the business side of things, we've won awards. It's really helped the reputation of the business and myself developed. There have been some collabs that I'm really proud of with other chefs, because it sort of gives me evolving and learning. But one of the many things and one of the many highlights that always stands out for me is obviously being involved and developing social businesses that sort of benefit people that are less fortunate. So it's something that I really want to be part of in the future still, and going forward it's something I want to do more of. It's maybe setting up community focus ideas and businesses that will benefit us and also people that are developing and underprivileged in some ways. So this is one of the best things about the Miele site, that there's such a vast collection of recipes from different chefs on there that you can actually use at home. So for myself, there's a couple of my favorites on there. Obviously, I'm a big seafood lover. I love cooking seafood, so there's the steamed clams you can try at home. The scallops, a dish that we did last year. The whole baked salmon, that's a good family recipe that you can try at home. With the winter coming up, you can use the coq au vin, the chicken recipe there. That works really well. It's a personal favorite with a canapé. There's a cumin shortbread with a chocolate ganache with some grated manchego, nice and savory and sweet. So there's plenty there. I mean, there's even a couple of desserts that you can try at home, the coconut custard, and even the fish pie. That's one of what me and the girls sometimes do at home. So do enjoy it. There's plenty there that you can choose from. So choose the ones that you really love to try yourself. You can try some dressings and all the different components of the dishes that work quite well with other ingredients as well. So enjoy it.